Hey everyone, welcome to the Trucker TV show. My name is Frank Rebelo. Welcome to my live broadcast about reasons that new drivers fail. Before we get started, make sure that you like and subscribe and share to Facebook, wherever you might be watching this on. Acceleration rules, and he's first. And we've got one person in here. So we're going to take our time with this, let everybody start getting out here and see if we can get some people to the stream. I put this up without not a lot of preparation, but I wanted everybody to know that, yes, I'm still here, and the Trucker TV show is still here. And I want to talk to you about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's talking about what makes people think succeed and what makes people fail in this industry that we call expediting. Specifically here at FedEx Custom Critical, where all of our trucks run, and where I believe it's the ultimate opportunity for anyone to succeed in this industry. Is there's FedEx Custom Critical, there's FedEx Custom Critical, and there's FedEx Custom Critical. And there's a lot of reasons that new teams fail. And I want to kind of go through some of those today, and I'm going to let some people get into the room. I'm going to go ahead and, get out there, and I'm going to share the video to a couple of people and see if we can't get it, out there and let people know that this is going on. Get a shareable link, and we'll go here, and I will move that around. Hope everybody's doing well. And this is something that lives I've done for a long time, and I've been encouraged by people to go back and build up the lives to what they used to be. And it's something that made my channel very, very successful in the past. And so I think right now what I'm going to do is just share this out a little bit, and let me see if I can get some people in here, and see if we can talk about something that's important. The reason it's so important to me is that people succeeding in something that I've been talking about for so many years. I've been on YouTube and Instagram and social media since 2016 talking about expediting at FedEx Custom Critical. End time. There we go. What's going on? Need text, please. So Acceleration Rules wants to know, how long have you been at FedEx? Well, I have been at FedEx since April of 2015. So I've been doing this here at FedEx Custom Critical exclusively for 10 years, a little over 10 years. I started with another fleet, and over 2 years ago, I started my own fleet, and now we have quite a few trucks on the white glove side of FedEx Custom Critical. I hope that you enjoy the content. Hit that like button. Let's see. Acceleration rules. Let's get started with some chat. I drive... man, that's tiny. Let's make that bigger. All right. 10,000 miles a month and 1,500 gallons of fuel. Let's put it back up there again. 1,500 to 200, $2,000 a week. 10,000 miles a month. So 2,500. Pay as a company guy. All right. So you're making what, about 85 cents a mile, and you're dedicated? Are you LTL? Are you truckload? You're driving for a company. I'd have to make a minimum as a 5. So why are we talking about owner operators? This is not a channel about owner operators. Neither is this video. But there are owner operators who bring their trucks over here and tractors, and they are the quickest to not succeed in our industry. So that is one of those things that I'd like to talk about. Dry-van, GP Transco. Okay, so acceleration rules. You have want some information. You're happy to chat, so let's concentrate on you right now. What is it about this that you want to know about? Go ahead and tell me, and I'll answer your questions. I want to talk about why drivers fail and what I've seen over the 10 years and why I've managed to stay here, be with another fleet, grow to a very large size. And then also I went and started my own fleet. And now I've grown that fleet in less than 2 years to over 15 trucks. So there's definitely lots of ways to succeed here at. That's a little crooked, isn't it? Gotta get them right. It's not a company position. It's independent contractor model. So it's if you come drive over here, you have no forced dispatch. You pick and choose the loads. You can negotiate the rate on loads, and so it is not something that is a company position. What I consider to be a company position is somebody who is going to, sign on a company, go through their orientation. They're going to go to the truck driving depot. They're going to get their truck. They're going to have a dispatcher calling them, telling them when to pick up the load, what the load is, how many miles they have to drive, where they can do. They're going to get a W-2. They're going to get all of these things. That is not what expediting is. This is not that, okay? Expediting is a bunch of fleet owners or owner operators who own these specialty trucks called, they're straight trucks with a big sleeper and a reefer, and we have temperature controlled freight. And on top of that, we are what's called exclusive use. So if it's your exclusive use, that means the person who's shipping the freight pays a rate to put their freight on your truck, and they want exclusive use, meaning that nothing else is going to go on the truck. If it's one pallet, it's one pallet. And if it's from Massachusetts to California, only that one pallet is the only thing that's going to go on that truck. It could be a 50-pound pallet. So this is very, very specialized. Getting off topic. If you were here, make sure you like that button, hit that like button. But I think one of the first reasons that I want to talk to you about why I think people fail, and this will be up for replay later, is that new drivers coming into this industry, they don't plan well enough. And what I mean by they don't plan well enough is there's always a learning curve to any new job that you're going into. And especially in the independent contractor model, when you're getting paid based on the revenue that the truck earns instead of a cent per mile like acceleration rules was talking about, you are going to have some time before you see the money building up, okay? And coming into your pocket and coming in settlements. And so you're going to get paid a percentage of all of the income that you produce for the truck. And you're in charge of producing that income. You're in charge of making that profitable for you. The rate per mile is going to vary on every load, and then you're going to have an average at the end of the month. But our average is going to be a lot higher than tractor trailer drivers. Home time is going to be very, very different. And there's always going to be a little bit of lead time between the time you start with the company and the time you actually start getting paid. So I think a lack of preparation is one of the things that new drivers come out here, and it's the biggest mistake. I tell people that I would like you to have 6 to 12 weeks of money put aside that you can cover your bills, feed yourself, and everything before you even come out and attempt to do this. Now, the money is great over here. I think it's for the amount of work that we do, I do believe that this is probably one of the best gigs in trucking because of the lifestyle, what the things that we get to do. So let's see. Another thing, another reason that drivers tend to fail out of here is that we are dispatched on a load board system. So FedEx Custom Critical has a load board that all the drivers can see. They can set up on their phone for them to receive alerts within a specific area, miles from either their destination where they're delivering or where they currently are. So let's say you have your parameter set at 500 miles. You're going to see all the loads that are going to come out to you from within 500 miles. You're going to receive a text alert when a load hits the board. Some loads are good loads. Some good loads are not good loads. Most of the loads pay a lot higher average than you will see at a trucking company that's doing truckload or LTL or anything like that. Okay, it's going to pay a lot more than that, and you're not going to work as hard for it, and you're going to be treated very, very differently than what you're used to being treated at a shipper at these other types of jobs. It's more of a little bit of a white collar type of trucking, if you will. We have smaller trucks. You've seen the FedEx Custom Critical trucks, just like this one back here. You see them parked in places that you guys can't park. So we have a lifestyle. We have a big sleeper. We've got usually a nice TV back there, a place to cook, sink, microwave, full-size bed for 2 people, and excuse me. And that is one of the big differences of what we do. Getting off track, squirrel, imagine that. So you have this load board, and there's all of these loads, and it shows you how far you are from the load, and then you can click on the load, and it's going to tell you the amount of deadhead miles to pick up the load from your final destination, and then how many loaded miles there are, and then what the rate of pay is. So, and these loads are dropped onto the load board about 5 days out. So today, let's say it's Monday, so we're going to be seeing loads all the way through Friday. And there's a bunch of loads that are sitting there. There's loads that are good loads. There's loads that are bad loads. So one of the reasons that I think that new drivers fail is what I call FOMO, fear of missing out. A lot of drivers will take bad loads because of that first reason that I told you about. They have a lack of funding that's sitting there making it able that they need to feed themselves, right? And because they don't have that money, they're just taking any loads that they normally wouldn't take or that are not a good load for the position that they're in. So one bad thing leads to another. That is, so FOMO, fear of missing out, is another one. Some people come from tractor trailer and that side of the business, LTL or truckload or anything in between. You're used to having to run what they tell you. You're used to running miles and not sitting and waiting. We run a lot less miles. So as a team might run the amount of miles that you said you run. Okay, again, there's acceleration. You're not listening, man. Listen. You're not paying anything for the truck. This is not a W-2. It's not a lease. It's not a lease where you're leased on and you got to pay for repairs and you got to pay for fuel. There are people that do that stuff, but you're not buying a truck. If you go buy a truck like this brand new right now, you're going to pay $400,000. Depending on the interest rate, you're going to have a $6,000 payment. That's not what this is about. So you're looking at, have you seen these trucks on the road? Have you seen these? Have you seen these trucks on the road? Yeah? FedEx Custom Critical. Funny little trucks with the big sleeper, And you wonder, what the heck is that thing? Well, that is called an expediter. So there is no truck payment. New drivers come over and drive for a fleet owner such as myself. So you come over with a teammate, because at my company you can only drive with a teammate. And this big sleeper right here is designed for a team. Most of them are designed for same household teams. So why is that blinking? So yeah, I think acceleration, I think you're new to the channel and I don't think you know a lot about expediting because you're asking questions that have nothing to do with this. So for instance, if you are a team driver, you get the truck and then you get a certain percentage of whatever the revenue that truck makes. So FedEx is the carrier. They don't own any equipment. People like me own the truck. You tell me, acceleration says, Frank, you call me, you email me right there, Trucker TV show, right? And let's see, can we get me and my email? We get that? No, that's not it. Nope, that's the wrong one. There we go, just me. There's me. Let's see. So what I can do is I can duplicate this one. Or I can edit this one. Let's do this. And edit text. Frank at truckertvshow.com. There, maybe that'll make it easier. Ted Collingwood, how old of a truck does FedEx allow? Okay, so FedEx allows trucks as old as they want to be. For a long, long time there's different types of service that FedEx offers. Temperature services are broken down into two categories. One is temp assured, which is just basic temperature freight. Temperature validated is a type of freight that is auditable. You can come in and you're going to make sure that all of your things, your conditions are met. And for a long time, the box on the truck and the reefer could not do T-val freight, temperature validated freight, if it was older than 10 years. Recently, starting January 1st, they have adopted in older trucks that are older than 10 years old, as long as they maintain the criteria and keep the standards up to par. Now, the base rate on the lease that you sign with the carrier, the owner of the truck signs with the carrier, acceleration. I want to put that out there for you, because you keep hearing lease and you're thinking we're leasing a truck like we're Prime or one of these mega carriers that takes advantage of drivers. That's not the case. You're never going to own a truck. There's no carrot like that going on. So we put you in this truck. You get a base percentage of the lease for a white glove truck that's less than 10 years is 60.5% of the revenue. That means for every $1,000, the truck is going to get 605. Now that is the base posted rate plus fuel surcharge. Now what they've done after January 1st, if this truck box and reefer is older than 10 years, they have reduced that rate by 5%. Now, here's an important point about that. That is the base rate. So when the computer puts a load on the load board, it's putting it on at the lease rate that the owner of the truck has signed with the carrier. Okay? So what you're seeing is the base rate. It's easy for us to use a calculator on a phone. It's easy for a computer to figure out 58, 56.5 or 60.5, 55.5. So that's what you're seeing. Do you have to take that load at that rate? This is not forced dispatch. So let's say you've got a 2015 truck and you've got a 2020 truck, and they're sitting side by side. What they see on the load board, the older truck is going to see a difference in pay. So I said it's 605, right? On $1,000. So let's say the load pays $1,000. Well, the computer is automatically going to put 605 out to the truck. Okay, we're just using numbers here just to show you. And on the older truck, they're going to show 550 because it's a 5% less. So that is the base rate. Now, what happens when these loads don't get covered is that dispatchers, live people, start getting involved. As a matter of fact, automatically, the computer, once it gets within 48 hours of pickup time, it will start sending out what is called a load opportunity to the trucks. And these load opportunities come to you, and you can accept it and say, hey, yes, I want to do that. And now we have the ability to do it on our phone. We have load board access on our phone, and it's still being worked on. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was what we had before. Also, you can decline it. You can say, no, I don't want to do that load for 605. It just doesn't make sense to me, right? Or you can say, let's say that load is, a 300-mile load, and that's $2 a mile. Okay, and you got $2 a mile. You got 300 miles to go, and you decide that, well, I don't want to do that load for less than $900, right? So you decline the load and you say $900. Nobody knows. They've done this with several trucks. Nobody knows what everybody else is bidding. So it's a blind bid system. That's another reason that people don't make money or fail at this, because they can't get to the revenue they want. They're accepting loads that they shouldn't accept, and they're not making the money to sustain themselves and have a good lifestyle. The reality is that if we're out here sacrificing our time as truck drivers, which all of us are, no matter who you are. If you're listening to this, if you are a truck driver, you are sacrificing something, whether it's time at home, whether it's time away from your family, uh, taking showers with shoes on in truck stops, all sorts of types of things like that. We're giving up something to do this job. So the pay has to be relatively worth it, in my opinion, to be out here and give up those sacrifices. So we've gone over some of the reasons that how your freight is, how you got the freight, how you can get the freight, what the not what the rates are, but what are the cause and effect of why people lose money, and lack of money leads to failure. Because if you're not making enough money to make the sacrifice you're making worth it, then you're not going to stay and you're going to quit. So it's one of the biggest reasons that we don't retain people. So I started out lack of preparation, where people don't bring enough money. They're not prepared. They don't have enough money in reserves to weather the storm until one, they are making good money and have learned a new type of system. Because what I'm describing to you is not what you normally see in trucking. Normal trucking is somebody gets on the phone, hey, go pick up this load. Yeah, here's the address you're going to pick it up. This is where you're taking it. That's what you're going to do. Sometimes you got to drop a trailer, go pick up another trailer. There's all sorts of nightmares on, you don't know what the equipment is like. And this is not that. This is back to the truck, this part over here, that's attached. It doesn't come off. You know what I mean? So you don't drop the trailer. And funny part about this is that on our Qualcomm or C-Link, as we call it C-Link at FedEx Custom Critical, you guys know them as Qualcomms. Yes, we're still using them. They said, did you drop your trailer? Because they use a software called McLeod, and it's designed for truckload freight. And it asks if you dropped your trailer. Well, no, I didn't drop my trailer. And it comes over and it seems very, very silly. And you're going, why am I being asked this? And the reason you're being asked is because it's on a software that could not be changed to fit the industry that we're in. So we have lack of money. We have fear of fear of missing out. We have people that are just want to run miles and don't care what they're getting paid because they're afraid that they're not going to get that paycheck. And goes back to, not having enough reserves when you start doing this gig. Bad decisions happen all the time. And depending on your pay plan, depending on who's paying for fuel, and there's drivers, I'll get right to you, acceleration. There's drivers out here that they get a percentage of the gross, okay? And they don't have to pay for fuel, and they don't have to pay for insurance, and they don't have to pay for breakdowns. And they're willing to take a bad load just to get the pay. And that puts them puts the fleet owner or the owner of the truck in a very bad position. It's usually when those people that take advantage of people, they don't realize, I don't think anybody goes out and says, I'm going to screw this fleet owner over and take this bad load just because it's going to make me money. I'm going to take this load for $1 a mile and I'm making 40 cents a mile and I can do that. And I don't care that it's costing this guy a bunch of money. Nobody goes out there and says, I'm going to do that on purpose. I like to see the best of people, and I would hope that that's not what's going on. But some people just have the need to feed themselves, and they will do it. And sometimes if I'm a casualty on something like that, let me turn on my my cool light. There we go. I'll get on my background light. Get over there. There we go. That's cool. They are going to, take those loads to make the money. So acceleration rules. Does the contractor get paid each week? At my company, yes. There's a delay of about 2 weeks from the time you start and you take your first load. The pay cycle ends on a Tuesday night. So you're going to get paid the week following at my company at the end of the next week. So if you take a load, all your loads that run up till Tuesday, you won't get paid that Friday. You'll get paid the Friday after. But yes, it does come through direct deposit, and it's you get a settlement in your email. It gives you a breakdown of every single load that you did, what every single line item was. Everything is full transparency. So there's no, the fuel surcharge was this. You got paid. We have regional pay if you go to Canada, if you go to New York. We have hazmat. We pay for extra. If you pay for extra services on the truck, you get a full percentage. And we want you to see everything on that. And you see it before you accept the load, and you see it after you accept the load. And as an independent contractor, it is your responsibility to track those numbers and make sure that you are getting paid what you're supposed to be paid. Now, and right here, that's a load notification that I was just telling you about. FedEx Custom Critical, right? Okay. And that's a load that's going from Memphis to Illinois. Okay. That's a notification that I just got of a load that hit the load board. And on the load board, there's, once you go to that link, you can see how far the deadhead miles is, how far the loaded miles is, and what it pays. One of the things that I'd like to say to, especially to people, if this is your first time here, if there's something that you would like to me to make a video about, not on a live, if there's something that you want me to make a live video about, where I can address specific things in our industry, would you put it in the comments? I'd appreciate it. If you're not watching this on Monday, April 7th, you are watching a replay. So I'm not ignoring you in the chat if you're trying to see if I'm still live. So hope that it helps. Ted, you wanted to know how old the trucks can be. You can get an older truck. It's just going to have a lower base rate on the lease. Hey, Aaron, welcome to the channel. Welcome to Trucker TV Show. What do I need to move my truck to FedEx? So, a couple of questions, Aaron. Are you a tractor trailer, first of all? Are you a team? Do you have hazmat and tanker endorsements? And how much time, if you are in a tractor, how much time have you been behind the wheel of your tractor? So, are you a tractor? I'm writing these down so I don't forget. Are you a team? What endorsements do you have? Also, what was the last one? Tractor, team, endorsements, and how long experience? Okay. So, Aaron, questions for you. Are you talking about bringing your own tractor trailer to FedEx Custom Critical? If you can say yes or no. Are you coming as a solo or a team? What endorsements do you have on your CDL? And how much time do you have as far as experience as a driver? Now, for a straight truck, if you have a straight truck, You need no experience. You can come out of school day one and drive a straight truck. So let's see what. I'm a solo tractor trailer, no hazmat, but I have tanker 7 years to come in June. Okay, I'm going to break this down. Listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? Solo is the first thing against you. Second thing against you is tractor trailer freight is not as, there's not as much tractor trailer freight at FedEx Custom Critical as there is straight truck freight. Also, you're cutting your own legs by not having your hazmat endorsement. So you have those three things against you. One, you're a solo. Two, you have less freight. And three, you don't have your hazmat endorsement. So that's the reality of it. So as a tractor, unless you have a teammate and unless you have all of your endorsements, I wouldn't suggest it. I don't think it's a good move. I don't want you to come from a bad place where you might be into a worse place. Nothing hurts a driver more than sitting for a long time without making any money. And that's something that I want to make sure that all drivers understand, is that I've been talking about this industry for 10 years on YouTube. Well, 9 years on YouTube, excuse me. And I have to tell you, I really believe that this is the best experience for a driver in the industry. There are other types of expediting companies out there. There's Panther, which they have a life sciences division. But when we're talking about straight trucks, they're not running refrigerated truck freight, and the base rate is abysmal. It's just ridiculous, and the experience with dispatch and everything is not a good experience for truck drivers. When you come, the biggest surprise for people that come from the trucking industry at FedEx Custom Critical is how nice everyone, when you call in for something and you have a problem or you're trying to talk to them about a load, the biggest surprise from people that come from truckload side anyways is how nice they are treated by the staff at FedEx Custom Critical. They're super kind, they're super professional, and I've heard that a lot of times people come in and they yell and they're used to cussing out at dispatchers and everything. That doesn't really happen over here. And if it does, it's not something that is tolerated. I just want you to know. They're very professional. They expect you to be the same. Let's see what acceleration rules. Is the mileage quoted on the load board air miles? Hazmat will add mileage to the route going around. Okay, so that's a really good question, the acceleration rules. And the reality is that I think it's Loadmaster that they're using to calculate is zip code to zip code. But here's the kicker. New drivers, that's another way that new drivers fail. They expect the miles to be, and usually it's within 20 miles. It's not crazy. You know what I mean? It's not. And they do charge extra for the hazmat. That's usually to cover not only your qualification for handling that freight, but also the rerouting that you're going to have to take. But you get to see all of that up front, and you get to see if the load makes sense to you up front before you take the load. So you are the deciding factor. Another thing is, are you a critical thinker? Can you think fast? Can you learn to think fast and make a fast decision? Because when you get that load opportunity, or when it hits the load board, if somebody replies to that load in 10 minutes, in the first 10 minutes, whoever's closest to the load, I'll go over how the load board works at another time. There's a bunch of parameters. I'm not going to go into it. But you have to make a decision in 10 minutes. And usually if it's no, then you have to kind of, when they send it over, then you got 10 minutes to decide what is the right price that you will do that load for. Does that make sense? All right. No, they don't. I know what you're talking about, Aaron. I really think that this is a great idea. I've seen it on some dedicateds years ago. You're talking about like a 40-foot pup. And no, they're 53 footers. They're reefer trailers. They're owned by FedEx Custom Critical, and you're pulled to haul that trailer around. So it doesn't, I think, especially recently, there's been a lot of, with the economy and things changing over the last couple of years. If you've haven't been living under a rock, the economy's been a little rough on everything. And these trucks, right after COVID, so a truck like this what makes up this truck? Okay, what makes up this truck is that this is, really a dry box version of the truck. But let's say this had a reefer. It comes, with the cab. Then they put a custom sleeper on here. Then they put a generator on here. Then they put a reefer and they put this box. And then it's also going to have a lift gate back here. So all of those things are put on this truck. So this truck pre-COVID was selling right for a white glove truck right around $300,000, maybe a little bit under. Some of them were nicer, had bathrooms and things like that in them. That same truck now is $400,000. So Aaron, you were talking about how old I think, no, it wasn't Aaron, it was Ted. Ted wanted to know about how old. Well, the thought, instead of losing the money, is why don't you just go get another box and put it on? Well, the box and reefer now cost $100,000, and then there's no telling how long it's going to be. So these are reasons that these drivers, like I said, the price, the cost of these trucks, and making bad decisions. Another reason that people fail is that usually you have somebody helping you, whether it's a fleet owner, whether it's a mentor, whether it's, a group of drivers. This is a culture where, unfortunately, everybody is a competitor with everybody else. There's not a lot of these trucks, but we're all competing for the same loads. Even if we're friends, we're all competing for the same loads. So even if it's a bad load and I'm negotiating against somebody, I might be negotiating against a friend. And you will get advice from these people. The community is great. There's a lot of people that are very negative about this. I just don't see it personally. I love what I do. I love being a part of FedEx Custom Critical. They're the carrier. They are the people that feed us, that give us the freight, and they have expectations of us on how we're gonna service their customers. They expect us to wear a uniform, and it's a polo shirt, dark slacks, and black shoes. And they only expect you to wear it when you're picking up or delivering. And I don't think that's too much to ask. But there are people out there that's too big of a deal for them. And I run into people all the time wearing pajamas and wearing sandals and things like that. And the reality of this is that you come into this knowing full well what is expected of you. And you agree to it when you agree to work for these companies. And just do what you say you're going to do, It's not crazy. I mean, this isn't outrageous. It's putting on a shirt, having a certain color pants, and going in, and being nice to people, being professional. I can go in pretty much anywhere. I can pick up at a hospital. I can pick up at a military base. I can pick up at a pharmaceutical warehouse. If you want me to deal with somebody that's real mouthy and mean, whatever. I can deal with anything. Everything is only for a moment. But people who come over here and just go, well, I'm just going to get the nice truck and I'm going to get the nice sleeper and I'm going to get paid well and I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. I just have, personally, I have a problem with that because you made an agreement to do something and you knew what your expectation was, and you're a piece of crap if you can't do the bare minimum that is expected of you. So, Mr. Roberson, how are you? Hope you're feeling well. Hope that young lady of yours is doing well. And like I said, there are a lot of companies that don't. We are white glove freight. If you break it down and you think about it, right? Again, with the truck, back to exclusive use. The person is paying a premium refrigerated freight, a team. Nothing else goes on the truck except their freight. They don't have to worry about it getting lost in a warehouse. It's going door to door. There's all of these minimal things that are expected of you. Some of the things that we have to do are so simple, and people just don't want to do the right thing or participate. And it becomes really a pain in the butt. It really does. So I got to tell you, that's one thing. If you're going to do this job, do it the way that's expected of you. So Leanna's doing better. That's great. And how's your hip? So let's review a little bit. People come out into this with expectations of getting money right away. They don't have any reserves. You want to have at least 6 to 12 weeks of reserves so that you can, there's that gap till you start getting paid. And also, you're learning a brand new game. You're learning a new type of trucking. There is a learning curve to it. Some people come right out of the gate and bang, make really great money. They're making a couple of grand each right out of the gate. But that doesn't last forever. And to expect it to is crazy. Trucking, whether it's regular LTL or truckload or expediting, it's ebb and flow. It comes and goes, ups and downs. When you got ups, save some money. When you got downs, spend the money you saved. So another reason that people fail at this, the expectation of home time. A lot of people would like to be home every night. A lot of people would like to be home every weekend. This is not that. There's a custom sleeper on this truck. It's very, very comfortable compared to the rest of the industry. If there's a custom sleeper, you have to think, why would they build this nice custom sleeper on this truck? Well, maybe they want the drivers to be comfortable because they have to stay out longer. And that is what makes money. And if you're running home every week and you're not taking loads and you're not building your gross revenue to a point that you can sustain yourself, then you are failing. Good news, good news. Glad to hear it. We'll be talking soon, I'm sure. So, lack of money, fear of missing out. James, I know that you were a Panther for a while, and you guys are used to running. I've had drivers come over, and they're just used to the pace being a lot slower, but they're making a lot more money, and they're not used to sitting, We had a team that I spoke to this weekend, and they were in an area and they wanted to know what they should do. Could they pay to go home and all this other stuff? And I told them to wait it out where they were. And they ended up getting a load they picked up today, and their net pay on that load, net pay, and it was a 500-mile load, just under 500, including deadhead, was $2,100. Okay, so let's say it's that's their cut. Okay, their cut was $2,100. So if you divide that by 500 miles, right, that comes out to $4.20 a mile to the driver. Now, does that happen all the time? No. What are the variables of that? Where are they going? Is it going to be easy to get a load out of there? These are all things that you need to learn and you need to understand, and they're going to be reasons on whether you're a success or you're a failure. I hope that I've covered enough of these things that you understand. Like I said, this was a live video that was filmed on April 7th. So if I am not, if you're watching this any night other than April 7th and I'm not replying to you, it's not that I'm ignoring you, it's that I'm no longer live. But if you comment, I will reply to your comments. If you would like to talk to me about this type of job, what we do, and the things that we've discussed today, then go ahead and email me, frank@truckertvshow.com, and you'll get a reply back from me, and you can make an appointment and we can talk. And we are looking for people, and we're looking for teams. Hazmat and tanker are preferred, not necessary, but it will cost you money if you don't have them. Hope you guys have a great night. Hope you're safe wherever you are. And make sure you like the video, little thumbs up, and how about subscribe if you haven't done so. And don't forget to hit the bell. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night. Be safe.